layers. Okay, I'm ready.
I think that was good.
There's numbers. I promise, I know the numbers. Oh my gosh, Masha. The atmosphere. It surrounds us all. The atmosphere is an envelope of gases surrounding the Earth, made up of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.9% argon, and 0.03% carbon dioxide. The first layer is called the troposphere. It is where we live, and it is where weather happens. Temperatures in this layer usually decrease as the height increases.
The stratosphere is the next layer of the atmosphere. Temperatures here increase with height. That is because the ozone layer is located here. That's kind of cool with the water. The next layer is the mesosphere. The air up here is too thin for any weather to occur, and similar to the bottom layer, the temperatures decrease as the height increases. And lastly, we have the thermosphere. It is the layer closest to the sun. Because it is so close to the sun, the higher you go, the higher the temperatures.
Ooh, that's a really big cloud.
The atmosphere is affected by the greenhouse effect, which is when the gases in the atmosphere trap heat, making the Earth comfortable to live on.
He's getting that good oxygen. Watch, Masha.
Hold on.
Look at this. I'm gonna get a big boy handful. Beep, 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 beep. The global circulation can be defined as the winds of the world. These winds travel from tropical to polar latitudes. In each one, there are 3 different cells: the Hadley, the Ferrel, and the polar. Each hemisphere circulates the troposphere. The Hadley cells are the largest cells, which ascend towards the Earth in broken zigzag lines, creating thunderstorms and intertropical convergence zones. They're gonna leave us, Masha. I just left my bag over there, hold on. The Ferrel cell is the middle cell, which ascends to the equator, then converges between cool air and subtropical air. This is what gives our weather such unsettled mediums. It's okay. The polar cells are the weakest cells. They sink over the highest latitudes, and then they flow over the lowest ones. We can always do some voiceovers. The GCM is the general circulation model. It is a high detailed grid to allow people to see changes in climate over weeks, years, and even centuries. The GCM is a highly detailed grid that's 3-dimensional, covering the globe. It has lines at 250 and 600 kilometers and 10 to 20 vertical lines over the atmosphere. They're so beautiful. El Niño is one of the biggest weather phenomenons. When it happened, the central and eastern Pacific Oceans heat up, and this caused a disruption in the atmosphere and the winds, causing a big disaster to happen with the weather. A big disaster happened with the weather when El Nino happened. Did you know that?
Shots of the snake from all around.
Okay, let's figure out where'd my phone. Let's figure out what the polar cell is. They're the weakest cells, and The climate on Earth has changed drastically throughout its existence, ranging from the Ice Age to now. The icebergs are shrinking rapidly. The ponds that used to be frozen are breaking up and melting, and trees are blossoming sooner. The stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. Okay. The ozone layer is a region in the Earth's stratosphere that soaks up most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation. There is a growing concern that the ozone layer is being depleted due to chemicals like chlorine and bromine. This is devastating because the sun's ultraviolet rays will come in and cause people to have skin cancer and eye cataracts more easily. Disruption in the weather. Okay? Central and Eastern Pacific.
There are 4 main sources of air pollution. These are mobile sources, such as cars, stationary sources, such as factories, area sources, such as agriculture, and natural sources, such as the wind carrying sediment.
I want you to look good! Air toxins can be present in the form of gases. They can cause cancers, birth defects, and other serious problems.
There are 6 main criteria for these. These include carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, lead, particulate matter, and ground pollutant. A primary pollutant comes directly from the source. A secondary pollutant forms when the primary pollutant reacts with the air. Global dimming. You might be asking yourself, what is that? It's when less sunlight reaches the surface of the Earth.
Are you done?
Air pollution caused by particulate matter is one cause of global dimming. And then there's particulate matter, formed when solid particles and water droplets in the air mix. These can come from either direct sources or from chemical reactions in the air.
Energy efficient homes require mechanical ventilation. The 3 main mechanical ventilation ways are exhaust, supply, and balanced. Does it look like I'm reading a teleprompter? Exhaust ventilation uses the air from inside the house, but also uses air from outside of the house that comes in through vents that were made specifically for it. Many people are concerned that this will bring in pollutants and various fumes into their homes. Supply ventilation systems work through using a big fan inside of the house to pull the air from outside of the house in. Although when the air inside of the house is very moist, it can use the air outside of the house to pull into very cool places like the attic or the basement. This can result in mold and dust forming. Balanced ventilation systems exhaust both the inside polluted air and the outside fresh air. It uses vents to take the outside fresh air and filter out all the pollen and dust that might be in it. The chimney effect is when the high density and heavier cold air will be always pushing the low density and lighter hot gases up. This causes the natural flow of gases up the flue gas stack. This pressure difference that pushes the hot gas up the flue gas stack or the chimney is the chimney or stack effect. You can feel the effect if you stand near the doors or openings at the bottom of a stack or at the open door of an elevator shaft. Depending on the height It can be gentle drought or heavy suction. Sick building syndrome, or SBS for short, is when occupants of a building become very sick for no reason after spending much time inside of them. Radon is a radioactive gas found in homes all over America. It comes from broken down uranium in soil, rock, and water. The water gets in the air you breathe, typically moves from the ground up into your home through holes. A green building was a building that in its construction was made so that it lessened the impacts of buildings on the environment.
So as you all learned in today's film, the topic of atmospheric science has an abundance of material dealing with the atmosphere, weather and climates, outdoor air pollution, and indoor air pollution. One thing I would like to leave you with is that simple everyday activities can have a wide impact on the earth. So take care of the earth and monitor your impact!
That doesn't make any sense.